Ladies and gentlemen, indeed I'm glad to join you in today's celebrations for the Africa Environment Wangari Maathai Day, which is also the World Wildlife Day. These celebrations bring together the people of Kenya, my government, the African Union, the United Nations agencies in Nairobi, international environmental organizations, and representatives of the diplomatic missions, as well as other key stakeholders in environmental conservation. It is an occasion for all of us to reflect on our splendid natural heritage, and indeed also our obligation to protect it for posterity. The African Union designated the 3rd of March as Wangari Maathai Day to be observed annually and throughout the continent in conjunction with the Africa Environment Day. The decision was in recognition of the numerous environmental challenges confronting the African continent. Over the years, these challenges have been aggravated by the loss of biological diversity, issues of climate change, and desertification. What is being done to protect biodiversity is little compared to the cumulative threats to our environment today. This therefore calls on all of us to work much harder to cause positive change before it is too late. This year's celebration of Africa Environment and Wangari Maathai Day has additional significance as indicated by the theme. We now recognize the vital role played by women in environmental management and sustainable utilization of our natural resources. Conservation of biodiversity and protection of our environment is therefore equally a function of women's empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that in 2004, Professor Wangari Maathai won the Nobel Peace Prize. Her efforts to link peace, sustainable development, and democracy finally received universal acclamation. She was not only the first African woman to win this award, but the first environmentalist to win the Nobel Peace Prize for peace. Her work demonstrates that environmental protection was in itself a path to peace. The decision by the AU in 2012 to recognize the life and work of the late Professor Wangari Maathai is therefore an immense honor in her memory and also an honor to the people of Kenya. Her contribution and dedication to environmental sustainability, biodiversity conservation, and empowerment of marginalized groups, especially women, have received due recognition. Her legacy is the enduring reminder to all humanity of the need to respect, protect, and nurture Mother Nature. As Kenyans, we are proud to host this year's celebrations. We are highly privileged by the full participation of the African Union in honoring Professor Wangari Maathai's monumental work in forest conservation. I call upon every Kenyan to do something special in recognition of this honor and indeed in memory of the late Professor Wangari Maathai. I have urged Kenyans severally before to set aside 10% of their land for trees. Today I call again on everyone to ensure that this portion is filled with trees, and indeed that for every tree that we fell, we ensure that we replace it with 5 others. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are also marking the second World Wildlife Day. Wildlife confers immense ecological, genetic, social, economic, scientific, educational, cultural, and recreational, as well as aesthetic benefits to sustainable development and human well-being. The World Wildlife Day is an ideal opportunity to celebrate our wildlife. At the same time, this day reminds us of the urgent need to step up the fight against wildlife crime. Wildlife crime continues to pose wide-ranging economic, environmental, and social threats. I am proud to observe that my government has made significant progress in reducing wildlife poaching. This has called for intense investment and cooperation with many stakeholders. However, that said and done, a lot remains to be done. Today, I once again call on everybody to join us to sustain the efforts of preventing the poaching of our wildlife. The three-way commemoration today represents the multilateral convergence and international consensus that has developed on the critical issue of environmental protection, conservation of biodiversity, and it also speaks to the massive threats confronting us and the need for effective and collective action. Wildlife has great social economic value for the people of Kenya. Elephants and rhinos that are poached. This poaching is driven by the demand of ivory and rhino horn in the international markets. Concerted local and international efforts are therefore required to disrupt and destroy the illegal systems and illicit economy which are sustained by ivory and trophies from endangered wildlife species. Ivory and wildlife trophies must be put beyond economic use everywhere in the world. Traditionally, Kenya has played a leading role in wildlife conservation and the fight against poaching. In 1989, Kenya led the international community in stopping the international ivory trade by symbolically burning its ivory stockpile. In response to this groundbreaking intervention, the international trade was banned, and as a result, ivory trade, which serviced demand in Europe, the US, and Japan, collapsed. 25 years after this historic banning of ivory trade, new demand from emerging markets once again threatens Africa's elephants and rhinos. African countries are concerned about the scale and rate of the new threat to our endangered wildlife species. We are committed to combating the menace robustly and persistently until we dismantle the entire vile economy. Today, I once again assure the international community that Kenya's resolve to preserve humanity's shared heritage in wildlife is there. Our commitment to save our great species, especially the elephant and rhino, remains as strong as ever. Ladies and gentlemen, at the international level, we are seeing greater collaboration between various international institutions and agencies in combating illegal wildlife trade. I'm proud of the work being done under the aegis of the United Nations General Assembly Resolution CITES decisions, and I also commend the interventions of the international agencies such as Interpol, the UN Office of Drugs and Crime, and the World Customs Organization, and the regional Nairobi-based agency, the Lusaka Agreement Task Force. Kenya is indeed proud to host Interpol's new regional office on environmental crime. I believe that it is a significant boost in the global fight against illegal trafficking. At the political level, I'm also aware that several international conferences have been held to reaffirm the global community's resolve to deal with poaching and illegal wildlife trade. I wish to assure you that Kenya remains firmly at the forefront of all activities aimed at sustaining the momentum in the fight against these evils. Over the last 3 years, as has already been mentioned, a number of countries have destroyed contraband elephant ivory and rhino horn. These include Belgium, Chad, China, Hong Kong, the Czech Republic, Gabon, France, and the Philippines, as well as the US. I commend these international partners for their solidarity and commitment. As part of Kenya's continued policy to put ivory beyond economic use, and consistent with international norms regarding disposal of seized contraband, today I will burn 15 tons of ivory at this Nairobi National Park. In order to underline our determination to eradicate poaching, my government shall burn the rest of the stockpile that we have within this year. We hope that the rest of the world will follow our action in the same manner. Our message must remain clear. Many of these tusks belong to elephants which were wantonly slaughtered by criminals. We want future generations of Kenyans, Africans, and indeed the entire world to experience the majesty and beauty of these magnificent animals. Poachers and their enablers will not have the last word in Kenya. Indeed, as I conclude my remarks, I take this opportunity to also thank all our partners, both local and international, for the support that they have offered in environmental conservation here in Kenya, as well as the management of our natural resources. Once again, I thank you all, and may God bless you. Asante sana.